Been to the skate shop, got a fresh board, so we're gonna set up, gonna nerd out over the measurements a little bit. But first I did want to talk about this Polar that I was just skating. And actually I think it's probably got like another month's worth of skating in it. It's a little bit soggy now because I've been skating it through the winter, so it has had its fair share of waterlogging, but it's still pretty good. Turns out it's skate shop day. They had 20% off, which is very significant. So I managed to pick up this shop board, can't remember, for maybe £40, which is pretty good. So this, first of all, this Polar, I really enjoyed it. I always enjoy Polar boards. This was my first 838 Polar deck. Came in also like 32.2 long maybe, but I know it had a wheelbase of 14.38, which is slightly longer than what I would normally go for. I normally like a 14.25, I think is like my perfect wheelbase. But to be fair, this board has kind of shown me that wheelbase maybe isn't as significant as it is sort of going around right now. And the reason I say that is because this board is also quite long. There's quite a lot of fingers of flat here, which I think makes it very easy to scoop. So it was very manageable doing 360 flips and things. Obviously a longer wheelbase will slow down that rotation a little bit, but I think it's more of an issue when you've got a long wheelbase but a shorter board, which kind of results in the nose and tail sort of compressing a little bit where the bolts meet the tail, which sometimes makes those short boards with longer wheelbases kind of less manageable. You kind of end up with like quite a steep feeling board. I really enjoyed this board. I thought maybe the longer wheelbase gave it a little bit more heft popping. To be honest, this was probably maybe one of my favourite decks that I've skated. Like I said, it's feeling a little bit soggy now, so we're going to set up a new one. I was maybe going to wait another month before setting up the new one, but I got excited because I also found these funders on Vinted for like £15, brand new. If you don't know what Vinted is, it's like Depop. If you don't know what Depop is, it's like a second-hand clothing shop, but you can also sell other things on there. And this person was just selling these funders they had lying about, I guess. So yeah, let's get on with setting this up. I'm going to talk a little bit about this deck first. I've measured it with the tape measure, and this is listed as an 1825. An 1825? Sorry, this is like this was listed as an 825. I've measured it. It actually measures in at 8.3, not 8.38, just 8.3, which is perfect really, because I love an 8.2 or an 8.38, 8.25 or 8.38, if we're being that specific. But this comes in at 8.3, so this kind of comes in at the middle. The wheelbase is just about 14.2, and the length without the concave measures at 32, with the tape measure dipped down maybe like 32.1. So this is my ideal board. The actual like kind of shape of the concave and that is very similar to the Polar. I think though this is just slightly steeper. This actually seems pretty steep, maybe steeper than what I'm used to. I don't know if I'd label it as a steep. That might throw me off, but we are setting it up with the funders, which are lower, and then push the wheelbase out slightly. So I'm hoping it feels pretty similar. It may do, it may not, but I think we can get used to this. It's got kind of those bakery Death Wishy shaped kicks, so kind of like a pointy popsicle. So doing this setup kind of gives me like a bit of an opportunity to talk about the whole PSL situation, and I can kind of give like I guess like a honest sort of like what I thought of the contest. As someone who's a fan of like, I guess, skateboard content and media. Hang on. Is that nose? Yeah, that's nose. I think as a standalone thing, it was okay. To be honest, I found it super boring, especially the first game. I actually did enjoy watching the second game, which was Roman and Jamie Foy. I thought that was a pretty fun game, especially towards the end. I'm trying to go for a bit of a fancy grip job here, but this might be failing. we've committed now, so we're gonna stick with what we're doing here. So yeah, I guess like starting off with the positive, I enjoyed watching Roman and Jamie skate. Everyone else, not so much. After the first couple of tricks are set, you do realise that you are just watching people skate stair sets. And bearing in mind we're watching P-Rod skate his own stair set, he skates every day and he knows it so well, it's not very entertaining, because most skaters that skate gaps, right, they're very used to it, and it doesn't keep you on the edge of the seat, because even when they don't land it, they kind of look like a Skater XL character bailing, do you know what I mean? It's so smooth, and like, even though it's dangerous to jump down a set of stairs, watching them doesn't feel dangerous, especially P-Rod and Miles Silvers, just because their style's almost too good to be entertaining in that form factor. In a video part, it's different because it's sort of out in the streets and that, but in like watching them jump down the most perfect stair set over and over again, basically playing a complicated game of skate. If someone can explain how the round system worked to me, please do. For me, I honestly didn't get it. I think it was like a timed thing, but I don't know, it didn't really make sense to me. I think there will be skate fans that enjoy watching it, but from what I'm gathering though, the aim of PSL isn't necessarily just to appeal to skateboarders, it's meant to bring like a fan base into it, like you would with like a team game. And I don't know, I just feel like the way people are talking, or the way Mike Mo and like his friends are talking about it, they think they're really onto something that's gonna change skating forever. And I don't know, I just don't see how it's going to bring a wider audience to skating. I think it only really appeals to just skaters, and even then I think it's kind of boring to appeal to a lot of skaters. But like, to kind of sum it up and not just say what other people have already said, I don't think PSL is going to really change anything. I mean, there's space for it purely because I think the Berrics doesn't really exist anymore. So the Berrics Gamers Skate doesn't exist anymore. And to be honest, I don't want to see another group of people organise a Gamers Skate. Like, I've watched enough Battle of the Berrics now, and I never really watched them unless I was a big fan of who was playing anyway. And as a skater, I already feel the same way about PSL. I don't want to watch PSL unless I'm a fan of the people playing the match, which is maybe why I have a bit more of a bias towards Roman and Jamie Foy. I really like those two skating. Look at this grip job. I tried to make something a bit different, I don't know. But yeah, that's basically my thoughts on PSL. So it's fine. It's fine, but I don't think it's particularly changing anything. I hope I articulated those points enough. You know, I'm setting up a board, so I kind of got to articulate my points in one take, and I'm not the best speaker, believe it or not. I normally do quite a lot of cuts in my like talking sections of my videos to try and edit together what I'm actually trying to say, because I do a lot of ums and ahs and things like that. So anyway, that's the deck gripped. So I think I'm just going to set up the rest of the board and then I'll talk through like what I've set up. So to summarize, got a boarded South Sea deck, more of an 8.3 than an 8.2, but that's a good thing. Thunder 148s, which are the 825 trucks. I did used to skate the 8.5 trucks a lot. I've had the 8.5 Indies and Thunders, and I like them, but it does just kind of make my board feel a little bit too like heavy, and a little bit too like too much effort to kind of get going. And I find the 825 trucks are wide enough, they're stable enough, you know, for transition and street. And then I have the Spitfire Reynolds 93s. These things are really good. I find they skate really similarly to a Formula 4 99. And they really do a good job at rolling over the extra crust, and living in England, that is just so essential. When you do drops on these wheels, it sort of takes the pressure off your knees and your ankles a little bit. So yeah, that's my setup. Let's get a nice smile for the thumbnail, and hope you enjoyed the video.